All right, everyone. Welcome. It's Daweed. I'm here with you guys tonight again. Just touching base with you, or today rather. I apologize if the sun coming in the background. So, if you can't see me that well, it's quite all right. As long as you can hear me, we are all good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna let some people get in here, climb in. We're gonna have our lunch and learn coming up, right? Very shortly. Tomorrow at noon, we're gonna have our lunch and learn. That's going to be live tomorrow at noon. We're going to have our lunch and learn. And then we're also going to have tomorrow at 3 p.m. our workshop 3, Become Your Own Bank, right, as well. So that's going to be very exciting. I'm super looking forward to that. Share with everybody you know. Get on board. Let's make it happen. Let's win. And I'm looking forward to everyone being and attending those the workshops. We got 8 of them that we're doing. We've already done workshop 1, workshop 2. If you haven't been able to see it, you can go to my YouTube channel and see it. You can go to workshop 2 on the regular channel and see it. um as far as on my Facebook, or you could go to LinkedIn, anywhere you want on any of my sites to be able to go see it. But we're asking that everybody shares it, okay? And so, again, this is going to be Rich Dad Poor Dad Part 6. We're continuing where we left off before. A lot of people have been enjoying the Rich Dad Poor Dads. They've been doing really well, actually, as well. I want to start inviting some people to the I'm going to be inviting people to the call. I got people texting me right now. Hopefully these individuals are coming on the Zoom, on the live rather, not Zoom. We're not on Zoom. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, or yeah, Twitch, and what, Twitter, LinkedIn right now. So give me 1 second. I want to invite some more people to this right now, and I have to go live in order to do the inviting rather. So let's see if I can get to it real quick, and we're gonna keep moving, right? So welcome, welcome, welcome. Those that are with us, text in where you from, what's going on with you while we're doing this right now. Feel free to do that, whether you're watching it now or you're watching it later. It doesn't matter. Let me see. How can I get to this home? I want to go here. I'm live. Good. I want to turn that volume down. It's going to double back through here. And I want to be able to edit this. And I want to be able to tag. And it doesn't let me tag. So I've got to be able to invite. Let me see if I can do it this way. I have found a way to do it last time, but I can't remember. Share. Oh, yeah. I know how I can do it. I can send it this way. Boom. There we go. I'm inviting people to this right now as we speak. All right. So this is how this works. Okay. All right. Now I've invited some people. And those that come in, share it with others. Right. We want to share. We want to walk through this. But again, we got our workshop 3 coming up, Become Your Own Bank. And then tomorrow, also at noon, we have our lunch and learn, where we were going to be doing our lunch and learn as well. Right. So today, right now, what we're about to go over is the Think and Grow Rich, or excuse me, Rich Dad Poor Dad Part 6. I always want to say Think and Grow Rich, but it's Rich Dad Poor Dad Part 6. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Where we left off, you can listen to this in your car. You can listen to this when you're driving. You can listen to this at any time. You can use them like podcasts, even. But the key thing is that you want to listen to this because we're growing. And so the reason that we're doing Rich Dad Poor Dad is because we understand mindset. Everybody's getting the mindset of how to make money appear, and things in their place appear, no matter what reality they want to create. But now we need practical application in every area, and one of those areas is finance, and that is exactly what we're going to be dealing with. So what I basically want to do here is I'm going to start where we left off, And the key thing is we're right here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go that far. That's too far. We are right here at that's too far too. Hold 1 second for me, okay? Let me get where I want us to be. I do apologize for the delay, but we got to move forward. Here we go. This is exactly right. Lesson 2. So we are on lesson 2. So lesson 1, what did we get out of lesson 1, guys? We got out of lesson 1. The first things first was what? The wealthy do not work for money. This is very important. Their money works for them. And this is the lesson that this is lesson 1 possibly is the hardest lesson to learn because we've always been taught to work for money. And so our mind is wired to work for money. And if you missed the other lessons, you can go back through them. I made a on the YouTube channel. I actually have created the playlist. So you can go to YouTube, the YouTube link that I have there, and then go click on playlist, and it's going to take you to one. Look up the one that says Rich Dad Poor Dad. Let's talk credit, beyond credit, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That playlist is going to have all of them in order, and you can watch the other 5 parts. Okay, but we're at part 6 now, right? And so this is going to start us off into lesson 2. Okay, so the powerful thing was that the boys learned not to work for money, right? We got that. That was key because now instead of working for money, they're now using their imagination to what? Create money. And that was the paradigm shift, right? The paradigm shift was you're going to work for me for free. So they had to find a way to make money. And when they did, they created the bookstore that brought them in. I think it was more than that. It had to be 900 times more than what they were making. 900 times, and their profit was 400 times more than what they were making. Right? Is that correct? It was more than that. It's 9,000 times more. Right? And 4,000 times more because they started thinking, right? They were forced to use their imagination. That is very important. Okay. So when you're forced to use your imagination, now you can create anything. Now we're at why teach financial literacy. And as we stated before, we're doing what? The workshops, teaching what? Financial literacy during Financial Literacy Month. So this could not have come at a better time. This could not have come at a better time, right? So again, now we're going to go into lesson 2. Why teach financial literacy, right? So let's start from the beginning of this chapter. This is lesson 2. So we got lesson 1, lesson 2. Why teach financial literacy? It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And this is very important, right? This is extremely important. It's not how much money you make, it is how much money you keep. And there could be nothing more important than understanding that concept. Is that why is that concept so important? Why do you think that concept is so important? In 1990, Mike took over his father's empire and is, in fact, doing a better job than his dad did. So now we've jumped forward. They're not children anymore, they're adults now. 1990, Mike took over his father's empire and is, in fact, doing a better job than his dad did. So his father did a great job. Why? And this is something that I teach in every area of everything that I ever teach. And that is we are not to create equal to us. We are to create greater than we are. In other words, if I teach my family, my children, or anyone, any student that I might have, if I teach them, if I'm a good teacher, they will be better than me. because they didn't have to go through the things I did to get to this level of knowledge. So once I get to a certain level of knowledge, I'm imparting upon them the information at this level of knowledge so they can get to the next level of knowledge quicker. Then they can come back and teach me, right? And then we'll grow together and keep flipping information and growing together. So he did an outstanding job because his son, because he got the information at age 9, right? Now could do a better job than his dad did because he had more time to assimilate it and get the information than his dad had. His dad had to make all the mistakes, do this, and that to get to where they were. Because he was a good student, right? He was now able to take that and take it to the next level and make mistakes at a higher level. And his son should be able to go to the next level. We see each other once or twice a year on the golf course. He and his wife are wealthier than you could imagine. Rich Dad's empire is in great hands, and Mike is now grooming his son to take his place. So now he's doing what his father did. So his father did an outstanding job because now he taught him, he taught a generation, then that generation is teaching a generation to, and hopefully it continues, right? And if you do, that means you did exactly what you were supposed to do on this planet at that time. That is extremely hard to do. This right here, what he accomplished by him training his son, and his son is now training his grandson, that is powerful. That is when you know you've done it right. Right? Rich Dad's empire is in great hands, and Mike is now grooming his son to take his place, as his dad had groomed us. In 1994, I retired at the age of 47, and my wife Kim was 37. Retirement does not mean not working, right? Retirement does not mean not working. For us, it means that barring unforeseen cataclysmic changes, we can work or not work, and our wealth grows automatically, staying ahead of inflation. Now, these are key words, right? And we are in the financial literacy month, right, at this time as well. Karima, I appreciate your like. Thank you so much. Welcome and continue listening. You can listen in the background if you have something that you got to do. You can use this like a podcast. I greatly appreciate your like. Thank you so much. And so the key thing that I want you to get is that the that very important is, first of all, like, it's financial literacy month. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper right now while we're talking about this because we're in the middle of workshops. And if you've been following my workshops, then you're going to understand where I'm coming from, right? So we can work or not work. That's number one. That means you're going to work because you want to, not because you have to. If you like what it is that you're doing at your job and you're happy with that, then continue doing it. But you can always stop when you want to, when you have multiple streams of income coming in and you've gone further into what we were talking about in the workshops, which is what? The um the interest, when you've mastered interest, right? So now they said we can work or not work and our wealth grows automatically. Again, this is interest. Your wealth is growing automatically, staying ahead of inflation. This is a number that you want to look at. Inflation, making sure that your interest that's coming in is higher than the interest rates that has increased the amount of money in inflation. So we're looking at a balance here, right? Our assets are large enough to grow by themselves. So now they have assets as well that are large enough to grow by themselves. So now these assets are growing by themselves, right? And they have them in interest-bearing accounts. It's like planting a tree. You water it for years, and then one day it doesn't need you anymore. Its roots are implanted deep enough. Then the tree provides shade for your enjoyment, right? So that's a metaphorical idea of investing, right? Mike chose to run the empire and I chose to retire. Whenever I speak to groups of people, they often ask, what would I recommend they do? How do I get started? Is there a book you would recommend? What should I do to prepare my children? What is your secret to success? How do I make millions? Right? So these are the type of questions that the average person asks, right? Right? So yes, these are the type of questions that a person would ask. How do I get started? Is there a book you would recommend? What should I do to prepare my children? What is your secret to success? How do I make millions? Right? Now, the issue is do people listen when you tell them? That's very important. So whenever I hear one of these questions, I'm reminded of the following story. The richest businessman. In 1923, a group of our greatest leaders and richest businessmen held a meeting at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. Among them were Charles Schwab, head of the largest independent steel company, Samuel Insull, president of the world's largest utility, Howard Hobson, head of the largest gas company, Ivar Kruger, president of International Match Company, one of the largest companies at the time. Leon Fraser, president of the Bank of International Settlements, Richard Whitney, president of the New York Stock Exchange, Arthur Cotton and Jesse Livermore, two of the biggest stock speculators, and Albert Fall, a member of President Harding's cabinet. 25 years later, nine of these titans ended their lives as follows. Now, this is deep. 25 years later, nine of these titans ended their lives as follow. Right? So let's look at it. Schwab died penny after. I'm hoping I can see. I'm sorry. I'm doing this wrong. Schwab died penniless after living for 5 years on borrowed money. Insull died broke in a foreign land, and Kruger and Cotton also died broke. Hobson went insane. Whitney and Albert Fall were released from prison, and Fraser and Livermore committed suicide. Right? So we don't want to end up in this type of situation, right? Didi, thank you for liking. Thank you for liking this live. We appreciate you. Thank you. Welcome, 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 welcome. You, like I was telling her, Kar- Kareem. Hopefully you can. What did you want? What did you put up there? Hopefully you can come on the lines, then do a show. Invite me. I'll do the show for you, Kareem, Karima. I will definitely do that. Okay. So I will definitely do the show for you. Just invite me. No problem. And we'll make it happen. All right. I like that title, Lions Den, anyway. Those are the type of places I like to be. So just invite me. I will make it happen. Okay. Um, Also, let me see. Let me get back to the screen. And it might take me a second to look at the chat, even though if you put in something in the chat, it's just the fact that I'm reading at the same time and I can't see them, so I go back and forth to see it. Okay, so just if you put in something in the chat, bear with me. Um, I'll definitely make it happen, and I'll definitely respond to your chats. Just bear with me for a minute, okay? So, again, um, I'm gonna go back to the book. So these people, they what? Committed suicide. Now let's look at this. I doubt if anyone can say what really happened to these men. If you look at the date, 1923, it was just before the 1929 market crash and the Great Depression, which we talked about last night when we went over the history of taxes, and we'll go a little bit into a little bit when we deal with bank becoming your own bank, because we'll be dealing with the history of banking as well. I doubt if anyone can say what really happened to these men. If you look at the date, 1923, it was just before the 1929 market crash and the Great Depression, which I suspect had a great impact on these men and their lives. The point is this: today we live in times of greater and faster change than these men did. I suspect there will be many booms and busts in the coming years that will parallel the ups and downs these men faced. And when we get into his book called The Guide to Investing, when we get into that book, you're going to really understand this concept more. You're going to understand it when we go through cash flow better. But when we get into the guide of investing, you're really going to understand how to beat the ups and downs of the market, right? And so I suspect there will be many booms and busts in the coming years that will parallel the ups and downs these men faced. I'm concerned that too many people are focused on money and not on their greatest wealth, their education. So most people are concerned focused too focused on money and not their greatest wealth, their education. Now he's not talking about school education. He's talking about wealth education, which is what? As if you've been following me, you know wealth is what? Not taught in the school system. It's taught at home. And so that's why I always ask people, do you think Warren Buffett's children received the same information at home about wealth as they did? No, because the wealthy purposefully do not have wealth taught in the schools on purpose. That's not an accident. I want y'all to be clear. That is purposefully done because you are not able to compete with them if you do not have the finance, right? That's why when I dealt with what does the scripture say about money, right? When I dealt with that in there, you will see the scripture in Deuteronomy, I believe it's 8th chapter, the 18th verse, where it says, I have given you power to get wealth to what? Establish the covenant. Because the covenant cannot be established without it. They're clear on that. They understand that. They understand what money does. Most people don't. And so because of that, it was purposefully designed for you to never become wealthy. That's very important to get. I want you to really grasp that concept, right? Now, so the average person, they never wanted those that were poor to become wealthy, ever. That was never a plan, right? Now, I'm concerned that too many people, I'm sorry, if people are prepared to be flexible, keep an open mind and learn, they will grow richer and richer despite tough changes. If they think money will solve problems, this is very important. If they think money will solve problems, they will have a tough ride because money's not designed to change to make you it's not designed to stroke your ego. In other words, it's not designed to make you feel like a better person. It's not designed to get rid of you being raped when you were a child. It's not designed, it can't fix that. Money can't fix that. You understand what I'm saying? That's something you have to go inside of yourself and deal with. And that's beyond the scope of what we're going to be talking about. However, I want you to be clear. Money's not going to solve your problems. If you got a hole in your spirit or in your soul, money's not going to solve that. It would just make it worse. It would exacerbate the problem. So you have to be healed. You want to be whole while you're earning, right? While you're earning. That's one thing I love about direct sales because it's a it's a self-development program with a compensation plan. So you get paid as you become a better person. And I love that because you're healing yourself and growing at the same time. I'm concerned that too many people are focused on money and not their greatest wealth, their education. If people are to be flexible, keep an open mind and learn, they will grow richer and richer despite tough changes. If they think money will solve problems, they will have a tough ride. Intelligence solves problems and produces money. Money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. So as I told you, you're talking about financial education, not the school education. Nothing wrong with getting that education if you can keep your mind clear of the goal that you're trying to accomplish. But financial intelligence, right, is the key, right? So in other words, what does this ring to? A fool and their money is soon departed. So the first thing we have to do is learn. That's why we're learning what is money, the history of money, how money work. That was what workshop 1, understanding money, right? Workshop 2, what are taxes? How to legally avoid taxes. What are taxes? What's the history of taxes? How do we truly utilize taxes so that we can get down to paying 0% taxes legally, ethically, and morally? That was workshop 2. Workshop 3, how to become your own bank. This is all financial intelligence. It's financial literacy on a high level where most people don't know that they can become their own bank. The average person, until recently, it hasn't even been available for you to be able to become your own bank, right? Because we know what's happening to this banking system. Do you really want your money in that banking system? No, you don't, right? You don't want your your money in that banking system, right? You want your money somewhere else, right? So this is the key thing that I want you to get, right? So again, it says money without financial intelligence is money soon gone, right? Most people fail to realize that in life, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, right? And that was the key phrase in what? Lesson two. Financial literacy is what? How much money you can keep. Financial illiteracy is how much money you what? Spend. So this is how you know whether you're financially literate or you're financially illiterate. How much money you keep versus how much money you spend. If how much money you keep is higher than how much money you spend, you now have become financially literate. If how much money you spend is higher than how much money you keep, then you what? Are financially illiterate. In other words, if you've been following our if you've been following us, then what you're going to realize is that financial literacy, right, is when your interest accounts, when the interest that you have coming in, you can live off of, right? Until you can do that, when you can take all your money and continually to drop it into interest bearing accounts that are bringing you enough interest where you can live off that without spending any money. So your money keeps growing. Until that day, you are still financially illiterate, right? Period. And that's okay. What does that mean? We keep studying, we keep learning, we keep growing. That's a thing, right? So the point is, we're about to become financially literate. You're going to be able to live off of your residuals from the interest that's coming in if you continue to follow our different programs and so forth. So the Rich Dad Poor Dad, the financial literacy workshops, these are very important. You get with us and work with us with our experts, right? Then what's going to happen is the experts will do the work for you. You're going to learn while that's happening and make money at the same time. It's a win-win-win situation, and that's what we're doing all together, right? All together. We're going to make 2024 a whole nother reality, right? Together. So most people fail to realize that in life, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. Key point. We've all heard stories of lottery winners who are poor. Why are lottery winners poor? Right? Because what? They don't have the literacy. If I give you $1 million today, right, and you haven't built financial literacy, what's going to happen? You will lose it all, right? So it's very important to get financial literacy. It's how much money you keep. We've all heard stories of lottery winners who are poor, then suddenly rich, and then poor again. They win millions, yet are soon back to where they started. And I've got a friend who actually won $1 million, right? But now he's broke because $1 million, right? If you're not financially literate, you will lose it. Or stories of professional athletes who at the age of 24 are earning millions, right? Who at the age of 24 are earning millions, but are sleeping under a bridge 10 years later. I remember of a story of a young basketball player who a year ago had millions. Today, at just 29, he claims his friend's attorney and accountant took his money and was forced to work at a car wash for minimum wage. He was fired from the car wash because he refused to take off his championship ring as he was wiping off the cars. His story made national news, and he is appealing his termination, claiming hardship and discrimination. He claims that the ring is all he has left, and if it was stripped away, he'll crumble. So what did he do? He allowed things outside of himself to make him feel he was greater than who he, or yeah, greater, but really on the inside, but really truly, he was great without anything. So we have to know that we are great, even if we have nothing. We were brought into this world naked, as great as you can be. You are great just being. You are great just being, right? So now you're just developing talents, but you're great as a being. And you must know that to the core of your being, that you are great. You are wonderful. You are special. You are somebody for real. You have to know that to the core of your being. This man didn't know that. That ring was who he was. So everything that he did in life was to try to prove to himself that he was somebody. You have to already know you are somebody before you step out, or learn it while you're stepping out, because then you're going to be able to make moves not based on emotion. You'll be able to make moves based on reason and logic, right? Thought. You'll be able to think, right? So it's what? Think and grow rich, right? So this is very important to break down, right? So now let's go to the next piece. I remember a story. Okay, we did that, right? Yeah, he'll crumble. I know so many people who became instant millionaires. And while I'm glad some people have become richer and richer, I caution them that in the long run, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, and how many what? Generations you keep it. So that's what we'll be talking about when we get into the protect your family workshop, right? So protect your family. So what I advise people to do is share this with everybody you know, right? Share it on your page, share these. Let people hear them, see them, talk about them, whatever, and share them as well. So when people ask, where do I get started, or tell me how to get rich quick, they often are greatly disappointed with my answer, right? I simply say to them what my rich dad said to me when I was a little kid. If you want to be rich, right, you need to be financially literate. Key phrase, financially literate. That idea was drummed into my head every time we were together. As I said, my educated dad stressed the importance of reading books, while my rich dad stressed the need to master financial literacy, right? If you are going to build the Empire State Building, the first thing you need to do is dig a deep hole and pour a strong foundation. If you're going to build a home in the suburbs, all you need to do is pour a 6-inch slab of concrete. Most people in their drive to get rich are trying to build an Empire State Building on a 6-inch slab. Our school system, created in the agrarian age, still believes in homes with no foundation. Dirt floors are still the rage. So kids graduate from school with virtually no financial foundation. One day, sleepless and deep in debt in suburbia, living the American dream. They decide that the answer to their financial problems is to find a way to get rich quick, right? This is the error, trying to get rich quick, right? That is the error, trying to get rich quick. So, construction on the skyscraper begins. It goes up quickly, and soon, instead of the Empire State Building, we have the Leaning Tower of Suburbia. The sleepless nights return. As for Mike and me in our adult years, both of our choices were possible because we were taught to pour a strong financial foundation when we were just kids. So they learned as children, right, how to pour a strong foundation. Accounting is possibly the most confusing, boring subject in the world. But if you want to get rich, be rich long term, it could be the most important subject. For Rich Dad, the question was how to take a boring and confusing subject and teach it to kids. The answer he found was to make it simple by teaching it in pictures, right? My rich dad poured a strong financial foundation for Mike and me. Since we were just kids, he created a simple way to teach us. Trying to see why it's not doing. Okay, there it goes. For years, he only drew pictures and used few words. Mike and I understood the simple drawings, the jargon, the movement of money, and then in later years, Rich Dad began adding numbers. Today, Mike has gone on to master much more complex and sophisticated accounting analysis because he had to in order to run his empire. I am not as sophisticated because my empire is smaller, yet we come from the same simple foundation. Over the following pages, I offer you the same simple line drawings Mike's dad created for us. Though basic, those drawings help guide two little boys in building great sums of wealth on a solid and deep foundation. So are the these are the drawings. Now let's read this caption over here. It says rich people acquire assets, right? So rich people acquire assets, right? The poor and the middle class acquire liabilities that they what? Think are assets. I want you to remember this. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. Big difference, right? Now, let's move forward. Rule number one. This is rule number one. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets. This is a key point here. This is going to be key to the foundational future of your financial journey, right? So if you want to be rich, this is all you need to know. It is rule number one. It is the only rule. This may sound absurdly simple, but most people have no idea how profound this rule is. Most people struggle financially because they do not know the difference between an asset and a liability. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities they think are assets, said Rich Dad. When Rich Dad explained this to Mike and me, we thought he was kidding. Here we were, nearly teenagers, and waiting for the secret to getting rich, and this was the answer. It was so simple that we stopped for a long time to think about it. What is an asset? Asked Mike. Don't worry right now, said Rich Dad. Just let the idea sink in. If you can comprehend the simplicity, your life will have a plan and be financially easy. It is simple. That is why the idea is missed. You mean all we need to know is what an asset is, acquire them, and we'll be rich? I asked. Rich Dad nodded his head. It's that simple. If it's that simple, how come everyone is not rich? I asked. Rich Dad smiled because people do not know the difference between an asset and a liability. I remember asking, how could adults be so misguided if it is that simple, if it is that important? Why would everyone not want to find out? It took Rich Dad only a few minutes to explain what assets and liabilities were. So we're going to stop here and we will continue on the Rich Dad Poor Dad series coming soon. Again, if you want to listen to the former Rich Dad Poor Dad, you can go to my Facebook feed. All of the lives are there for that. You can go to our YouTube, which is posted on this live above in the regular place, and you can go to YouTube and then the playlist and that hit playlist and then go to the Let's Talk Credit Beyond Credit as well. So again, we're going to be having the event coming up on Friday at 3 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 o'clock Central, and 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Become your own bank, right? Become your own bank. We'll be doing that as well as we will have the Lunch and Learn coming, right? The Lunch and Learn will be as well. You will see me posting this information. It'll be at noon tomorrow, Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So we definitely looking forward to seeing you all there and working with you all. Again, I will see you all at the top, right? And the replay of this will be great. Didi, welcome. The YouTube channel's name is Let's Talk Credit. Let's LETS talk TALK credit, right? Let's Talk Credit. and then you could put "Let's Talk Credit," Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it'll bring up that the playlist. But "Let's Talk Credit" is the YouTube station, okay? And so I appreciate you asking that question. That's a very good question. And I look forward to seeing you all. You can play these in the background at any time while you're doing work or anything like that. You want them to start going into your ears and hearing it, and becoming a part of your subconscious mind, because you can't do anything that your subconscious mind won't allow you to do. And if we want financial literacy to be a part of us and for us to walk in that light, we have to surround ourselves with financial literacy. Tonight, there will be a bonus workshop for those of you that are able to hear my voice. There will be a there will be no problem. There will be a workshop tonight. I possibly will be um, posting that live as well, and so hopefully you all will be able to attend. But it will be live. If you want more information on that, inbox me directly through Facebook, and I will send you the link as soon as I get the link. It'll probably be around 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern when that link comes out, where I'm going to be able to share it with you. Okay. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. I love you all with a perfect love, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.